Evening, everybody. Welcome to the last meeting before the regular season really gets underway. I know we had a couple of games last weekend, but I'm going to turn it over to Matt Conrad, who's going to lead us in a presentation about replay and kind of give everybody the overview. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Matt. It's all yours.
All right, thanks, Nick. Tonight, we're going to try to keep it simple, but discuss some very important things that go on the booth so that the communication between us and the field guys is as clear and efficient as possible. So if you can go to the next slide, please, Nick. So 3 main topics tonight. It's going to be understanding the replay process, go over some of the steps. Consistency is what we're looking for in a few areas. We'll have a slide on that. And then the big part of tonight is I want to get into replays that are plays that are not reviewable. I have 35 examples. They're short clips. And the last 2 pages of your slide deck tonight will go down the types of plays we'll be looking at. So let's first go over the steps of the review process. So just as the officials on the field have a step-by-step process prior to the ball being snapped, so does the guys up in the booth. We're focusing mainly on counting the players, making sure we got 11, the down, the distance, yard line, hash mark that we're on, the line of game, the line of scrimmage that we're at, looking at the time of the game, the score of the game, who's got timeouts, and a big thing is competitive effect. Things that we will call in the first quarter may not be what we call in the fourth quarter and vice versa. It's not always a clear set of an exact play that we're going to do the same thing. Various factors go into it, but in order for us to make that determination, we have to follow a process with our pre-snap just like you do. Once the ball is away during the play, we're clearing the snap, we're clearing the quarterback running back exchange if one does exist. If the quarterback remains with the ball and he throws the ball, we need to clear that quarterback for potential targeting, and we're tracking the ball. We follow the ball. We want to know where it is, what's the status, who has it at the end of the down. We're looking at the line of game during the play. We're looking at boundary lines. We're looking at blindside blocks, looking at potential big hits. And the biggest thing our communicator must have is what's the ruling on the field. As a fellow communicator, the biggest aspect there is go slow. We do not want a quick ruling from the communicator. We want it to be clear, precise, and accurate. What I learned is you wait a few seconds to make sure you know that ball was completed and caught by the receiver, that it doesn't scoot out at the end and now you got a loose ball. And now you're giving mixed signals to your partner. Oh, we got a catch. Oh, I'm sorry. Now the ball's on the ground. Take your time, be patient, follow it through, and then give the facts to your replay official so that they can understand what the process is they need to go through and what angles they need to look at. So just as field officials have a process they follow pre-snap and during the play, you regurgitate the play in your head. It's there. I got it. Throw the flag. It's there. It's good. Touchdown. We do the same thing, just a different perspective in the booth from replay side. After the play's over, if I mentioned before, the ruling on the field. What is the ruling on the field? What is the status of the ball? Who has the ball? Are there any flags? If so, what team? What's potentially the foul? Injuries. We're looking for injuries. And if a player is down, we want to know how they got down in the booth. Was there a potential hit that we missed that caused the player to get injured? Or did he just simply slip on the turf and fall down and twisted his knee? We want to know how that player got injured. And if there's any timeouts, we want to make sure that we're aware of who has the timeouts because that can buy us some time on that play. Also, after the play, from a replay perspective, from our RO, I need to know what are the reviewable aspects. Is there a competitive effect going into place right now with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter or 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter? Or are we in the first quarter and it's 12 minutes to go? Is the team in a hurry up or are they in a huddle? All those factors come into play, allow the communicator to give the proper advice to the replay officials so that they can make a decision after every play, whether they're stopping a game or whether they're not. And that's one thing that needs to be done is I give the all clear signal or I stop the game on every single play so that my team, my crew in the booth knows exactly what page I'm on when that play is over. I'm either stopping the game with stop, 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 or I'm giving the all clear because there's no reviewable aspects, nothing that came to my attention that needed to be addressed at that point in time. Again, it's very similar to what you're doing on the field. It's just we take it from a different perspective and we're here to help you. You know, if we happen to go through a review, it gets a little more complicated, but we still need to know what the ruling on the field was. There has to be clear, indisputable video evidence for us to change the ruling on the field. We're looking for what's called the kill shot, the best camera angle to give us the support to make the decision as to whether we reverse the call, confirm the call, or go with stands. We as replay officials have to remember that the ruling on the field is correct. So every single play, I'm at a stand. And I either am going to have enough to confirm it or I'm going to have enough to overturn it based upon the video. But your call is correct. And I'm either going one way or the other. If I can't get 100% one way or the other, it stays as is. There's nothing I can do about it. So we come up with the final decision. We'll have communications through the referee. I'm not going to go through that in any specifics. But at the end of the day, it's just knowing that there's direct communication between the people in the booth, making decisions in a quick manner, stopping the game if necessary, and then communicating those results down to the field through the referee if it's a stoppage, or doing a booth confirmation and doing it through the 020. At this point in time, are there any questions about the basic steps of what replay does from play to play? Silence means no, so let's go on to part two, which I have as consistency. Consistency is just like the other C word, communication. On hot plays, what we are looking for to help you, to help us, is take your time. Do not rush judgment. Do not rush getting a call out. If you know it's a hot play, take your time, walk the ball in, talk to your co-partner, huddle up, whatever it might be. Bias those extra 3 to 5 to 7 seconds. It may seem just a couple seconds, but for those who are in the booth, 7 seconds is really almost like a lifetime for me to make a decision. We need to understand the situation. You need to understand the situation that's going on a hot play. Code words. Your crew probably has some code words that may be discussed over the 020. Utilize those. Listen for the communicator to maybe give you a code word. For example, when we're getting into an expedited review, the quick review. If you hear replay hot just came out from our COC guidelines. That means take your time, go slow. Chances are very good we're going to have an expedited quick review process coming up. That's just one example. In the end, on hot plays, you need to know the rules. Is it reviewable? Is it not? We're going to go into several different types of examples and types of plays that are not reviewable. From what I've learned over the years is helping educate field officials is knowing the non-reviewable plays as compared to trying to concentrate on what's reviewable. Those seem to get us into the most troubles when we don't know what's reviewable and we assume that it is, and the coach is questioning and trying to challenge something or whatever the case might be. Communication. The 020 is critical. You need to know the voice of your communicator. He or she, whoever that might be, recognize their voice. It's going to be different from you and the crew. Some people's voice stick out clearly, and that's great. Some don't. That's why we have the code words. You know exactly who's speaking and whether it's a guy on the field or whether it's a person in the booth. We always want your assist. We'll always give you assistance if it's needed. Do not hesitate to ask. we are anticipating what you're looking for. For example, spot fouls, I'm looking for the spot. I'm looking for the number. I'm looking for the hash mark. We're redoing the enforcements. We're trying to stay a step ahead of you to help you administratively if needed. So for example, the quarterback is back trying to throw the ball. All of a sudden we get intentional grounding, all hell breaks loose, and the center judge and the referee are like, yeah, I don't know where it's at. You know, it's somewhere in this area. Well, your crew up above should and will be able to help you with that spot. Hey, Ron, it's at the -25 #2. You hear it through the O2O, you know exactly where to put the flag, you know exactly where the ball is going to go to administer the foul. It should go seamless. If we anticipate that in the booth, we can make your job a lot easier when you need it. Another part of communication deals with clearly explaining to the referee during a stoppage. The less, the better. Only give them what they need. And the same thing on your end, if your play is potentially being reviewed, please get to your referee through the O2O, or if you're beside them, as to what you had, so that they can relay it through me, or they can relay it through the O2O. Clear, exact communication is going to help the process go better. Hey, I had 913 crown on that targeting. I clearly had a foot down with control before he went out of bounds. Those little things will help with the communication. Am I always going to listen to it, to be honest? No. But I need to make a decision based on what I see. But if you have value to bring to the table, I'd rather have it than not have it. Mechanics, clear, crisp signals. We are watching what you're doing. We're looking to see where you're spotting the ball. We're looking to see if there's a beanbag. We're looking to see if you took your time, or if you're just, I have no idea, I'm going to go up with it for a touchdown. We're looking for your mechanics. If you are in doubt, that gives me a little bit in doubt that you may not have seen it clearly. And that's fine. We're looking to see if you're in position. If you're in position to make the call, and I know I don't have a camera down that line or down the goal line, yes, the ruling in the field is correct until I can prove otherwise. But I'm looking to see, are you really in position to make that call? That helps me a little bit, gives me a little bit of a guideline to go forward. I'm looking at your body language. Are you talking to your partner or are you not? Were you really in control when you made that call? Were you really firm? Were you really assertive with it? Bean bags and hats, we're looking for those too, especially down the sideline. Guy goes out of bounds, we're looking to see if you guys have a hat down. You know, was he pushed out? Was he not? Did he go out on his own? Did he not? Those little things mean a lot to us in the booth. So it's nothing different than what you're doing. It's just letting you know that we are watching you from a different perspective, which gives us a lot of pieces to the puzzle to make the decisions that we do in the booth. Any questions there on the consistency for calls in those three categories? Go on to the next one, Nick. So this is getting into the meat and potatoes. There's various types of plays that are not reviewable. I'm not going to go down through these in detail right here because I'm going to spend the time going through these exact types of plays with video. Video is going to hit home a lot more than reading it on the screen. But we'll break it down into free kick plays, running plays, scrimmage kick plays, passing plays. There are just different types. And under each one of those categories, you'll see a different type of play. If you got the PDF early, great, because the last 2 pages is a nice little reference guide for everyone to use going forward of non-reviewable plays and situations that has been updated for the case plays in the rule book. So in your spare time, you can go back, you can look specifically at those case plays and read them and understand them. We're also going to go into that detail a little bit later here. So we'll go on to the next slide, Nick. So these are the other types of non-reviewable plays broken down. We got fumble plays, scoring plays, and timing plays. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. I want to go and spend the rest of the time, unless if someone has any questions, actually driving into these in a lot more detail so you can see it on the field of a kick play, scrimmage kick, passing, etc. Any questions at this point before we get into the video?
I actually have one for you, Matt, from a basic principle standpoint. Your communicator's watching the field, right? During the game, the communicator's out there watching the field. He or she's narrating to you what's going on out there because you're watching the screen, right? You're not watching the game as a replay official, correct?
We are both sets of eyes are on the field during the play.
Okay.
And then I have my finger on the pause button on my game shuttle, and I will stop the play on my monitor at the first reviewable aspect. So if catch, no catch is the first thing that really jumps out to me, I will pause my screen right at the catch, no catch on it. I'll continue to watch the entire play as it folds out, and then I come right back into my monitor so I can clear it or not at that point in time. I don't have to scrub it at all. I'm already there. I'm within a few seconds of when it took place. So it allows me to make that decision quick as to, yes, this play is hot, or no, I'm good, we're going to move on. But both sets of eyes are on the field. The communicator is given the play-by-play just with facts. It's not your typical TV announcer that you hear. Clears the snap, clears the quarterback, pass, forward, caught, first down at the -25, #1. Or ball is loose, recovered by the defense. Just give me facts. That's all that we're asking for from the communicator.
Thanks.
Nick, to your point,
Does that help?
in between plays, the communicator is still on the field narrating what's going on while the replay official is looking at the monitor.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah. Once the play is over, I'm in my monitor after every single play, and I look at all the reviewable aspects. If it's for example, it could be very simple 5-yard dive up the middle. I will stop and go back and forth as to what's the first body part down and can I see the ball. I get that into my muscle memory, so when I need to actually get to that on a big play, I'm already comfortable in doing it. So every single play, I'm going back and forth looking at it as long as time permits. If we're doing Kent State and they're a quick team and hurry up, chances are pretty slim I get to really work the shuttle a whole lot. But I do it as much as I can, knowing that when the opportunity comes, it's not the first time I'm really getting into the monitor and doing my process. So with that being said, I'd like to get into, one bonus question. Hopefully you all know this answer. So what's one foul that replay can create in the booth, but the coach cannot challenge? Anyone?
Targeting.
Targeting.
I'm sorry.
Yes, targeting.
Targeting, yep.
So Nick, with that, I'm going to share now so I can give you guys the plays. Is that right?
Yep, all yours.
So does everyone have the PDF that has the non-reviewable play situations? Because we won't be able to share that and the plays at the same time. If you don't, please go back to the email that Nick had out, pull up the PDF. It's going to be the last 2 pages because I'm going to go right down in order. And it's going to make it a little bit easier from a reference standpoint. Am I ready? Here we go. Share screen. Can everyone see a play up on the screen?
No, you're not sharing yet, Matt.
Not sharing yet. Let me try this again. Here we go.
Yep.
All right. Is that better?
Yep. You got it.
All right, perfect. So the first one, this is a free kick play, and this is specifically a teammate player that goes out of bounds and doesn't touch the ball. So the non-reviewable part of it is the fact that the player that goes out of bounds, if they never touch the ball, it's not reviewable by replay. They have to touch the ball. So this is going to happen at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to show you a couple different angles. Number 3 there went out of bounds. Comes back in.
And that eats up.
Never touches the ball. So if the guys on the field don't have the flag down, we can't create that foul. It's non-reviewable. We can assist, but we can't create it. Let's take another look here. Oops. Come on. Again, this will be a little bit clearer at the bottom screen. Number 3, clearly out, loops around, comes back in. The guy's got the flag, which is great. But again, you got 6 in the box. We should all be able to catch that. And this is the end zone shot. So again, we're catching up, we're looking at, we just know it's a non-reviewable play. Simple, right? Let's look at another one. So this is going to be at the top of the screen. Again, player goes out of bounds. Comes back in, never touches the ball. Non-reviewable. Again, they got the flag, which is great, but that's a non-reviewable play. Next one we're going to look at is going to be an untouched airborne kick that goes out of bounds. So if it goes out of bounds in the air, if it goes over the pylon, it's not reviewable. It's going to be at the top of the screen near the pylon. But the ball lands airborne and goes right over the pylon.
Was indecisive on a couple of those shallow crosses that weren't.
We're out of it. It has to touch the boundary, has to touch the pylon, has to touch something. If it's airborne, we're out of the play.
I mean, he's throwing those 20-yard crossing.
Again, this stuff shouldn't be anything new to you. It's just nice to see it. Clip.
Hey, Matt,
So
yeah,
this-
so those plays, is there anything you're looking for from your communicator on that?
My communicator, I'm expecting him to tell me that the ball is airborne and that it landed out of bounds and there's a flag on the play. That if it touches the pylon, if it hits right at the sideline, I want him to say that or she to say that to me. But if it's clearly airborne and it's near the goal line, that, hey, we're out of it. And I'll take a look to confirm that that's actually correct and see if there's anything I can do to help. But again, it's just, unfortunately, it's a non-reviewable play. So with this one, but this is Maryland, Iowa, right? We did that. Let me go to play 4. Play 4, entire clip. This is top of the screen, ball is near the pylon.
Second half against Nebraska, they certainly weren't in sync. Penalties, death by inches is what Mel Tucker told us.
This one,
Right, one guy doing.
you guys can see the ball back. 5. It's at the 2.5.
Guy doing
And
something.
goes out of bounds. Did it go over the pylon? Did it not? Is it in the field? We can't help you on that. It's non-reviewable. So relying on the guys on the crew to get it right. And we will see the ball bounce like this. You guys may see it this weekend. It does happen. I'm gonna go to the end zone shot of this. And the ball, you can see how it just goes over. So if the ball clearly hit right at the white there, then we can help you on that. If you guys roll touch back, we can clearly see the ball hit. at the 2 type thing. But that ball landed in the field of play, bounced in the air. It's airborne over the pylon, over the sideline. It's non-reviewable. Make sense? So the next one we're going to get into is going to be KCI, whether it's caught on the field or not, even if there's IVE. Come on here, play 5. Kick. So this is going to be an onside kick. At the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a fair catch signal. So it's going to be pretty quick. It's going to be by number 14 at the bottom of the screen.
And they are succeeding.
So he's about at the 49-yard line. He's going to be the one given the signal. Right arm went up. He's in position.
And an
It's
onside
interfered.
kick
And then you got a scrum.
is going to be loose. And
so if you guys
there's
don't have a
flags
foul
gone.
down there for the KCI, we can't come in
there's
and
gonna be
break
a
that
big-time
foul.
scrum
And if
for
it's
that
clear and
football.
obvious that the receiver was interfered with and gave the
So
signal.
the way you have that type of time of possession is it's called execution. It's called third.
That makes sense. Those are free kicks types of plays. So those are the most common. I want to give you at least one example of every one of them. So we're going to go into running plays next. So this is going to be a runner is stepped out of bounds and there's IVE of the runner inbounds, not near the goal line. So if the runner steps out of bounds, he's nowhere near the goal line for the continuing continuing steppage going in for the goal, we cannot review and stop that play.
What are we doing?
So he's going to be rolled out of
that
bounds.
red zone is what we're
43. He's actually inbounds.
He trips inside the 25. No points for the Terps. They'll try to change that right here. Off the pump fake. The check down is there. That's Penny Boone.
They're going to show you a
man
replay
miss.
down the
Into
line.
plus
That's going to
territory
make it a
and the
little more
leap.
clear
The
that
hurdle, that's more yards for Penny Boone. There was an X button, a triangle, and a shift of some kind that made that play work.
And this is all the while the thumper that's supposed to make yards in the box. You got the spinner outside.
He's in.
And then you got the jumper.
Still in. Knocks out the 45. So difference of 8 yards. They rolled him out to 43. The line of game is not involved. We're out of it. We can't change that. Doesn't happen often, but if it does, we can't help you, unfortunately.
And this
Play
is one for
7.
sideline officials to remember because it happens a lot and coaches always want to complain about it and not reviewable.
Right. So you just got to know if you guys unfortunately make the wrong call on that, it's non-reviewable. And we're going to see some more examples. The next one here is the spot of the ball does not involve the first down or goal line. So if the line to gain is not threatened and the goal line is not threatened, we cannot change the ruling on the field.
Medical staff will make a decision. I'll keep people.
Again, this one at 30 seconds. So this is a 4th down play.
The transfer from Maryland. And just a great job by Ole Miss's defense. Chance Campbell, who's been such a steady force there in the middle of this defense, makes the play and turns Baylor away on 4th down in their own territory.
It's hard finding some of these examples, but in essence, it's the line of game is not even close to being threatened. It's not reviewable. 2 yards away from the line of game, we're not getting involved with on that type of play. The next one here is going to be interesting. Play 8 is going to have the runner's knee is down. There's IVE of no body part down and no advances allowed. So this is going to be a runner on top of a body. And then I want you to see how everything plays out, including the coach.
Done. 10 carries, 52 yards on the day. The Bison overall.
This will be at the top of the screen.
193 rush yards. Anderson again. Trying to get
Was
outside,
on top of him,
was able to get out of the
down.
tackle from Rosaboom, and then taken down by Backus for no gain.
We can't help you there, guys. That's not reviewable.
Stig is upset over something. Here's again on the Nodak Insurance Company replay. The inside handoff. It goes to
Clearly
Anderson.
see 8 rolls over on the body.
So quick.
Stays up.
Was his knee down?
But he was
down. They called it dead. There's nothing you can do about it after that. The play stops because the whistle came out.
Was not happy at all about that call. Passing plays. I'm going to go over some examples on passing plays. This is going to be a receiver who's forced out of bounds. Whether there's contact or not, you guys make the decision. Let's see here. Entire clip.
There for the Northwestern. We haven't many of those.
It's going to be at the bottom of the screen.
They pay that guy well to get back, coach. 1st and 10, and into the hole between zone coverage. That's Bostic.
They'll show it again.
Flag comes in.
Well, Bostic stepped out of bounds. You saw the hat come off of the official. That means he stepped out of bounds.
So if there's any contact,
and then he was the first to touch the ball when he was back in bounds. So it's going to be a penalty against Ohio for being the first receiver to touch the ball after he was out of bounds.
So on this play,
that kind of adds insult to injury.
They're going to show that the defender's near him.
Number 85 went out on his own.
Did he contact him or not? I don't know. But it's too close for us to get involved.
Lost it down. 2nd down.
I thought they were going to show it again. Here we go.
You always want to have the receiver go out.
Oh, this is a different clip. It's the same thing.
Have the receiver go out, and it goes out on his own volition. They're saying he did it.
So let me just go back here and help you guys a little bit.
Great ref.
Well, the trick is you always want to have the receiver go out, and it goes out on his own volition.
There's a push there.
Get knocked out. Although it could be debatable. Did the DB knock him out or
It's
not?
very clear way down the field as to whether he goes in or not, or that defender not even near him. We know you guys are good enough to get this on the field. It's just we get limited in the booth on those types of plays. Show you another example here. This is going to be a very big play. View number 1. Some of you may
Garrett doesn't get as much attention.
Remember this.
You're right, playing well.
It's going to occur at the top of the screen.
Penn State's been excellent tonight. Their best 3rd down game of the year. 11 of 16.
So you can see the defenders right there. Does the defender touch him or not? Does the guy go out of bounds on his own or not? From a replay perspective, we can't really get involved in that. They roll him out of bounds. It's 2 flags. I think it's a great call, but it's a big play. Like a touchdown.
A flag is down as he races to the end zone. Now, was he forced?
They'll show a couple more angles to make it clear.
Did he go out on his own?
He went out on
Obviously,
his
you can
own.
see
He
what
was
Coach
about to be
Franklin runs.
touched on the edge by Cody Simon, but I think he went out of bounds before 30. Simon actually made contact with him.
It would be illegal touching for the 2nd time tonight in Penn State. Officials are conferencing on the far side. You saw James Franklin lobbying, say he was physically forced out.
Illegal touching of the forward pass by a receiver who had gone out of bounds on his own. Returned and was first to touch. Offense number 10.
It's at the top of the screen there.
Go out of bounds to avoid contact, right? You got to actually.
My opinion, even on his own. And again, the defender's right there. Did he touch him or not? I don't know. Looks like he probably didn't.
Simon almost pulled his hand back, but you can almost see
that's too close to call for us in the booth, unfortunately.
Where he was on the field, but he worked his way
Makes
out of
sense.
bounds without being forced out of bounds by Cody
I
Simon.
hear nothing, so I assume that's correct then.
11.
11. We got ineligible receiver downfield. Now, typically, this is lineman. So we'll follow this one through.
That's what
Let me
kind of
get the
threw the
15
timing
seconds.
off otherwise.
So this is a
He
big
might
game.
run
It's a
under
MAC
that.
championship game, very beginning of it. And you're going to have linemen
The running play and not a
downfield
Do you really get tired at that age?
on a long passing
I don't
play
think you
for a
did, but
touchdown.
I certainly did. Crum down the middle.
If this is not caught on the field, unfortunately, we cannot break this foul. We can clearly see the guys 5, 7, 10 yards downfield. We cannot break this foul. The field has to get this one.
Let's see if it stands.
And it's in that area of holding.
Great call by the wing guys. Big game. Got it right.
5-yard penalty.
I don't think they should. Here's a replay of it.
Valentine, the referee for this game, chatted with us. And one of the things that has popped up here is
clearly downfield.
Game.
Great call.
And so you're going to see the play action with Dustin Crum to Cooper, but they release and block downfield. And then it's not just one.
Play 12. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on.
You see right here, Kent State does a good job of doing what they've been doing.
Touchdown, lineman down.
3rd and 1.
Again, big play coming back.
Crum throwing wide open in the end zone. Kent State touchdown. Aaron Hackett.
30 is a better view.
You see right here, Kent State does a.
You clearly see they got a couple guys down there. We're hoping you get that one. We're in the booth, to be honest. Typically you do, but again, we just can't help you, unfortunately. Another ineligible player downfield. It's going to be play 13. These are guys that are covered up on the line of scrimmage. Eligible by number, but not eligible by position because they're covered up. I'm going to stop it right here. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you got the tight end is covered up by the slot guy. And he goes down.
So we've had,
and then look what happens.
The Miami starting quarterback,
oh no, touchdown.
Leave with an injury. Now loading up deep, hauling that in is Remy Simmons. Simmons with speed inside the 5.
They'll show another replay again. This is one you cannot help you on.
Michigan,
they got it correct on the field, which is great.
Hauling in the huge explosion play throw. Is there a flag? Is there a flag?
So it's just being aware from the field. When those guys shift around,
number 83 was covered in formation, went downfield on a legal forward pass. 5-yard penalty for the previous spot. 2nd down.
Wow. How do you have that happen? How do you have that happen?
There'll be a replay coming up here
I
for
mean,
you.
Joel Wilson, he may be a sophomore, but that's just basic football. You have to understand that you have to make sure that you're doing the right thing.
Again, very clear, right?
Right?
Covered up.
He's tight end. He's covered up.
Wing guys, you guys practice this all the time. You see it. Let's look at another one. Play 14. Same thing. Bottom of the screen again. Slot guys covered up by the deep receiver. Let's see what happens.
Jacks again, drop. A defender, just a 3-man rush. Baker trying to squeeze it in there. Stallberg got a piece of it, but it was going to be well short.
And again, a late flag. This one comes in from the near sideline towards the end of the play.
Next one's intentional grounding. So if there's IVE of a player in the area,
extension. Now they got a chance
we
to reach
cannot
another
break the
bowl
foul for
game
intentional grounding.
consecutive years. We'll end around.
So what happened to ball
flicker stuff. Myers looking down the field.
Looks like the
Nobody
guys in the
there
area.
and has to throw it away. So that
Flag comes in, they talk. I believe they pick it up. Good communication.
At the line of scrimmage or maybe a few
Non-reviewable play for intentional grounding.
There's no foul for intentional grounding because there was a receiver in the
Good
area.
crew discussion. They got it correct.
So
Pick up the flag. No foul. But replays out of it.
Maurice Lindquist is okay with that call.
Let's give you another example of intentional grounding. This one's a little different.
Well,
the Rutgers
hand it off, give it back, in the pocket, throws it away. I know we got at least one center judge on here. It's probably a referee or so. I know you guys are looking for that. You know the rule. Players in the area, not reviewable. You guys get the call because he's the one who relinquished the handoff. You cannot throw it away in the pocket. Great call by the referee. Just an example that replay cannot get in. If you guys do not rule intentional grounding, we cannot create this foul.
Got it.
Coach finally realizes what happened, unfortunately, but we need to be alert. Stuff may happen this week.
They flipped it back to him, so
Passer stepping out of bounds. So the ruling on the field is the quarterback's out of bounds and the ball.
Propel yourself in the air like that and not step out of bounds. It was almost like he pushed off of air.
And I think Coach McCarthy was the one that told him to take another look at that right on his sideline, saying, don't give him the ball on the 35. That's a turnover.
We should begin to review this.
Push him back a little further.
And that ends up being
so this play
a great play, really, by Winchester, throwing the pick like a punt on fourth down.
The quarterback is out of bounds. Even though you got IVE of the quarterback not being out of bounds, we cannot review this play, no matter what the result.
And now it's interesting that they're taking a look at this because the possibilities of
hold on, I'm sorry, I went too
the Blue Devils.
Take a look here. You can see the shots.
The what ifs.
Quarterback
Calhoun runs
still in the air when he releases the ball.
Let's say the Blue Devils catch it and score.
That's right.
And then you have to go back and then spot the ball wherever you decide to spot it. But the what ifs, the possibilities, just with the human element involved, saying he was out of bounds.
Yeah.
At least I thought they were.
The ruling on the field of the runner call first down Eastern Michigan at the previous spot.
That dodging.
So earlier in the clip, they showed about 3 or 4 examples of where the quarterback was clearly in the air. So it's just knowing from a field perspective, from a replay perspective, if the ruling on the field is the runner is out of bounds, even though we clearly know that they are not, it's not reviewable. So we should not be stopping the game. We should not be going through a review process. So this is just a good teaching moment for everyone to make sure we understand what's reviewable, what's not. That's why I'm emphasizing non-reviewable plays, because this can happen if the crew doesn't know that that play is not reviewable. We can get into a situation like this, which we want to avoid. This one here, same thing, passer stepping out of bounds. And this one creates even more confusion.
With the Jacks hat off.
Ruling on the field, the quarterback's out of bounds. Incomplete pass. It's going to be down at the bottom of the screen.
Kristen. Rolling. And then he'll just throw it out of bounds at the last moment.
We got IVE to
the official
quarterback
might have marked him out of bounds before he threw it.
Stop
So
this
that might
play.
be a loss of 4 or 5 yards.
So as you watch the
There's
clip,
the
you can
head
see the
linesman is standing right
confusion
at the
all around
46-yard
as to
line.
where they're putting the ball from the umpire, as to the coaches are
Insurance
questioning what
company
the heck
replay.
is going on.
Again, Christian usually likes to go to his throwing side.
Oh, he was
Yeah,
definitely in
that's
bounds.
an incomplete pass. So
since they rolled him out of
this gets
bounds,
looked
he's going to
at
be out of
again.
bounds at
I
that
don't know if he
spot on
can,
hash
but-
5. Well, communication
believe
didn't
he
get
can,
back
but
to the
it
umpire. He
cost the
thought it was an
Jacks 5
incomplete
yards.
pass.
Well, the play clock is down to 7. And now there'll be a stoppage.
I think Stig is asking.
Now they're talking. Wait, what's going on?
Are you sure? Would you please go ask?
Or
So
maybe asking
good
for a different
job from
hash.
the replay side of not stopping the
Because
game.
where Christian ran out of bounds, if it is marked out of bounds, it should be marked to the near side.
That's true. They marked the ball as if it was an incomplete pass back at the other hash closest to the Jacks sideline.
You can see that the coach wasn't happy.
The quarterback was out of bounds.
Pass or fumble. We went over a couple things on intentional grounding, but I want to show you a couple plays on a different aspect of it.
Spencer, I can't remember
until this now.
We can look at fumble or incomplete pass, but we cannot get involved in intentional grounding. This is just a typical intentional grounding foul called by the referee or the center judge.
It's a quasi-man, and they're going to roll too deep. Safe protection.
Real quick.
This may bring a flag out. We'll see.
Again, we can't get into the foul of creating intentional grounding. But we can look at result of the play, whether we got a fumble or incomplete pass. That's something different.
They could have gone either way, Tim. They could have either called him down.
Intentional
Or,
grounding.
Yeah.
Offense. Number 7.
But the ruling on the field is intentional grounding.
Third down.
You got to get the ball when pressured to the line of scrimmage, and he did not.
Yeah, he's down.
I agree. Let's look at the next one.
They're going to start throwing to the outside.
Another ING.
Tighten the coverage up on the backside here.
From the Hawkeye 46-yard line, Marty pressured, hit, and throws incomplete.
Is he down? Is he not? Pass, fumble? Yes, we're involved. Intentional grounding? No. The call ING on this one.
Barrington High School brought the pressure, and now the officials chatting.
Well, he's in the process
Again, it's
of
just
making the throw, and he's
might seem obvious, but it's just making everyone aware of what we can and cannot do to help you in the booth on different types of plays.
That's what they'll discuss, because he's not outside the pocket. And it
Next one gets a little bit interesting. It's on a fumble forward out of bounds. It's going to happen at the top of the screen.
High formation.
So if the line to gain or goal line involved,
we're in there at the fullback.
Forward fumble out of bounds.
On first down, it goes to Bridges. Bounces outside. Trying to shed that.
So this is one where we need to get slow in the booth. Make sure we clearly know what the ruling on the field is.
In their favor.
What a nice tackle
Fumble
by
is
Devontae
clear.
Reed.
Potential recovery by the defense.
For a while there, and
so
the ball definitely comes out.
We might have our first review
the
of that.
official ruling is forward fumble out of bounds.
Malik Fountain jumped on that loose ball.
Yeah, that ball's
That
out.
takes us out of it.
It's not working. Ruling on the field was a fumble forward out of bounds. We went back
Does
to the spot of the
everyone
fumble.
understand that?
Second down.
Took me a while to find this type of play, so it doesn't happen often, but a forward fumble out of bounds, if the line to gain or the goal line's not involved, it's not reviewable. We already went over kick plays of an airborne ball going out of bounds. I'm just going to show you one of a punt play.
Completion to Ja'Cory Pearson. If that ball's thrown on
This
time,
is clear and obvious,
you're in
but
business.
it's just a
But
matter of
Altmaier took a second hitch,
seeing
didn't
it to
trust
understand.
and as a
it's
result,
not
Baylor was able to
reviewable.
recover and break up the pass.
I believe it's the
Mac
bottom
Brown
right
on
hand
to
of the
punt.
screen.
Justin Ebner, the Big
Punt
12
play,
Special Teams Player
clearly
of the Year,
airborne out of bounds.
is back deep,
We
but this
can't
is
help you with the
skied
stuff.
over his head.
That's all you
and
guys.
out of bounds. 7-zip our score nearly.
KCI, we talked about KCI on free kicks. We also have KCI on scrimmage kicks.
Mark Crawford. Short field.
Is he blocked into? Is he not? We have KCI, do we not? We cannot create those fouls if they do exist. We'll give you as much help as we can if needed, but we cannot create KCI. We cannot look at force touching.
We're going to talk about that right now.
So, Matt, what kind of help do you think we could look for from replay on that?
I'm looking at touching of the ball. I'm looking at whether there's a fair catch signal or not. I'm looking at whether the ball was touched or not and who touched it. And I'm looking at a clear recovery. If you ask me whether he's blocked into or not, I'm not going to opine on that. Unless if it's clear and obvious that you're going the wrong way, then maybe I'll help you. But On a play like that, I'm not going to get involved into those judgment calls, and nor should anyone else in the booth. It's just we got to stick to our facts. Touching, signal, recovery to help you guys out. Going to jump the 25 here. This is forced or blocked into. Oops.
So Wisconsin with punt at their own 10.
Here's another type of example for you.
Man. And Dotson knocked down.
Guys getting blocked into him. Guys being forced into him. Flag is down. Potential KCI. Wait for the official ruling.
For the Nittany Lions.
Again, from a booth perspective, go slow on this. Let those guys talk it out. Let them make the final decision.
I didn't catch his
From
number.
a communicator standpoint,
the gunner's the outside player.
From a replay standpoint, I'm looking at whether I got the signal, I got that, and let's say he touched the ball, does 30 touch, did he not, is that going to come into play?
Catching interference.
Before the ball went out of bounds. Just trying to assist as needed in case if you guys need it. But whether he's blocked into that guy,
Mays, number 30.
Can't help you. They pick up the flag, just so you know. They pick up the flag on that, said he was blocked into, so I thought that was a good job. Scrimmage kicks. It's not all about the punt plays. We also got field goals and extra points. For those who work underneath, you don't always see these, but if you work it long enough, eventually you will. So take a look at this one.
Of the field, you give up the 3, but not the 6.
Field goal attempt to be our left upright.
Here's the kick from Ryland.
Non-reviewable. It's got to be inside the uprights. That's clearly over the upright.
No problemo for the sophomore from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. He missed it. Beg your pardon. Had plenty of leg.
Hey, Matt, if we have,
yes,
you know, the NFL style camera inside the upright.
It did not go through the uprights. And it's still 15-7.
Say that again.
Central Connecticut State. This fooled me. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was extremely high, but it went.
Okay.
So can you rule on anything that goes over, or no, not that either?
No, we stop at the top of the upright. So as soon as that ball gets over the upright, like it is right here, and if I got a camera going right up that says, "Oh, it looks like it's in," and I can prove it's in, I can't change it because it's up over the top of it. It's got to be down below between them. So this is just a good example. By rule. Mm-hmm. So that's one example, and I'll show you one other one. Look at that one. That was a little closer than the other one. Again, this is non-reviewable.
From 35
being done under the upright.
yards.
Hopefully you guys get it right.
And that is
But
no
we cannot
good in the
help
league.
you, unfortunately. This one is a teammate player going out of bounds on a scrimmage kick.
Up to the ball as that ball is held up by the wing.
So this is a routine play.
Iowa would have
This is
terrific
a
field
routine play.
position
There's 3 flags on it.
if the play stands, but To the ball as that ball is
Again,
held
this
up
is a
by the wind.
player going out of bounds. It does not touch the ball.
Reganey, the deep man.
It happened at the top of the screen.
Line drive. Reganey at the 35. He's got a shot here. Reganey trying to get outside.
Then I want to jump
and a
to
flag thrown behind him.
So again, you saw a little clip of it. I want to help you guys out a little bit here. Don't need to see them talking.
Fouls on both teams on the play going to result in offsetting fouls. Kicking team, number 30, went out of bounds and came back into the play. Blindside, personal foul, blindside block, Iowa number 52. Holding on the return, Iowa number.
Okay, the main reason why I wanted you to see the announcement was we had 3 flags on the play, 3 fouls. If we do not catch that receiver going out of bounds, and the fouls don't offset. So it's not one that we can create because he did not touch the ball. It's one that we need to get on the field of that player going out of bounds. And I want to get you to the all 30 clip on this one. And you're going to see the player going out of bounds at the bottom of the screen, number 30. So we should be able to get that from the field. Again, from the booth, we can help you. But it's critical on this because there's 2 other fouls against the other team. And by missing him going out of bounds, we don't have the offset. It's food for thought, something to think about. This one's dealing with the scoring play and it's safety involving a penalty. Now, there was some clarification this you are aware. So the location of the ball is reviewable in relation to the goal line when it's clear and obvious. This one, in my opinion, is not clear and obvious.
The offense can't look the same way, that's for sure.
You make the call.
Under 5 to play. Martinez.
What I mean by it's not clear and obvious is when the ball is released from his hand. So where's the ball at when it's fully released? Is that in the end zone or is that just touching the tip of the goal line? That's hard on that angle. I can't change it. Yes, the body's in the end zone. It doesn't matter where the body is. It's where the ball was finally released in regards to that for the foul from a reviewable aspect of it. So I'm going to let this one play out a little bit.
Sacked in the end zone, and he throws it away, and they're asking for intentional grounding,
in my opinion,
which will be a safety because the intentional grounding, I believe it will
5 yards deep
occur
in the end zone. That's different. That's clear and obvious. He's in there. If you don't get that one, shame on us.
No eligible
We'll help you
receiver
out.
from the end zone, rolling on the field as a safety.
And they get it.
But in my opinion, if this is not going to safety, I'll have a shot down the line, and I believe they do. I don't see the IDE to change it to show that that ball is clearly in the end zone the entire time.
There wasn't anything in the route concept that was being run. You're backed up. You have to get rid of that.
Again, there
football,
is
and
a
then
slight
you could just
language
simply
change for
airmail someone when you had a
2022. I just want
chance.
to bring that to everyone's
That pressure
attention.
was somewhat suddenly on him, so that's difficult. But you have to understand
That when it's near the
clock
goal
is
line,
quickened in
it's got to be clear and
that
obvious,
situation.
one way or the other. And like I said, that's not the best angle, but that's the best angle you're going to get as to whether that ball is actually in the field of play or not, or breaking the plane. I want to end it, not end it yet, but this next play, we've seen it a few times, I believe. There's this particular play is reviewable, but I want to change the time just by a couple seconds, and that's when it becomes non-reviewable. So let's watch the clip first.
Isaiah Likely? Where's number 4?
So first of all, it's the end of the first half, 12 seconds on the clock, and the team that's got the ball's got no timeout. So just sort of keep that in mind as to whether we got, how they're going to stop the clock, The guy get out of bounds, incomplete pass. If he's down in the field of play, from the line of game, they got an issue from a replay standpoint.
Can he get out of bounds?
So they're ruling him
likely
down. No, they're ruling him out of bounds. So it stops the
clock. Now you got to go ahead and get your field goal unit out there. That's perfect execution on the third down to set up an easier kick for Biscardi.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But if he's down in bounds,
That's what you saw there.
It's 10 seconds or less.
It was just a quick out route. He is a little comfortable here on this field.
And off comes into play, and the half is
about 4 or 5 yards. Need to give him a better opportunity to make.
You will see.
It'll be a 4.
That his knee is. So this play is reviewable. Reversal to 10 seconds.
Hatch. Again, that was the far side. It didn't look
10-second runoff. Half is over. If his knee is down with 11 seconds, if his knee is down with 12
But I want to see
seconds.
if the body part was down. No,
that is the key.
And I think they show a shot.
That body part's in down before he goes out of bounds. Then the clock's still rolling, and that.
Well,
I don't think. At least I thought they did. But if they don't, but in essence, if his knee down there with 10 seconds, I mean, with 11 seconds,
does the ball
12
hit
seconds,
the ground?
13 seconds, that play's non-reviewable.
The left knee.
Because it involves the boundary line, and the line of game's not involved. So from a replay perspective, this makes our job very difficult as to whether we stop this thing or not and correct it. But again, this was the exception that's out there. It's the only exception is if the runner's down with 10 seconds or less on the game clock, we can invoke Rule 12.3.7 and end the half on this play. Dean does a little better job than I do explaining this, so I recommend you go back and look at some of his training tapes of this particular play. But the reason why I bring it up is we change that clock by a couple seconds. It completely changes the aspect of whether it's reviewable or not. And that's what we need to know in the booth. In the field, I feel you guys just do what you need to do. Hopefully you get this right and you can see he's down. Hopefully there's some help from the deep guys saying, hey, that knee's down. But again, you know, it happens. We understand it. We'll correct what we can. This next play talks about my little question. Most of us have seen this from a replay standpoint, but from a field standpoint.
Shelley, and oh, wow, what a huge hit. It's incomplete at the Bears bench.
A foul that can be challenged. So if it's not called on the field, the coach cannot challenge the call, even though his player might be on a stretcher.
It's Ty Scott.
You can
Trying
see
to work
this is
the
a great
sideline here. Scott
hit.
goes up.
He's defenseless, yes. Nothing to the head neck area.
Up,
great clean hit, no targeting. It's just a
face mask.
reminder as a field person, the coach cannot
Brady,
challenge your call.
the defensive back,
ruling targeting.
They say that the previous play is under review. There's nothing really to review
I
here.
don't think so.
The player's not defenseless. They go face mask to face mask.
I'm going to end it with one more.
So I don't know
Matt,
what you're going to see.
Matt,
Yes.
real quick question in the chat. Can replay get involved? Can replay get involved in a free kick out of bounds? If the ruling on the field is that B possessed and stepped out, but video shows B had a foot out of bounds when he first touched the ball.
Yes.
Yeah, reverse. That's a reversible. That is a reviewable and reversible situation.
Right. Yeah, it's just an airborne ball over the sideline or over the pylon is not reviewable. The ball being touched at the sideline is reviewable, whether the player was in bounds or out of bounds, or whether the ball was in bounds or out of bounds.
Thank you.
So I want to end it on this one. This is a forward progress. So the ruling on the field's forward progress, not fumble. If forward progress is the ruling, it really limits what replay can do. If you haven't seen this play, it's a little interesting.
That comment. He was sleepy Thursday morning when I dropped the hammer on him again this week.
Illinois off to a good start with 47 yards rushing. They have leaned on their offensive line so far. Here's Chase Brown. This time he's got nowhere to go, and the ball pops out.
So from a replay perspective, again, you got to be slow. Give me facts.
The officials did not blow the
Ball
play
is
dead.
loose,
They
ball's
did
in the
not rule
pile.
that Brown's
You're waiting for the
progress
ruling.
had been stopped.
This is one, if you're watching the field, you can see an official coming over, trying to get the attention of the referee. So I recommend, from the communicator standpoint, to say, hey, they're still discussing the play. Because the referee, as you can tell, is like, oh my God, you just told me what? He makes his ruling, and then it's like, we got what? Oh no. So I think it's a good teaching point for everyone. Feel it in the booth. If you're on the field and you got value to bring, get it into the referee. If you're ruling forward progress, you better tell them as soon as you can. Granted, the OTA is not going to work in this environment.
They are now taking away the touchdown.
Look at Tarver.
Penn State has their extra point group out on the field. The referee just came over and announced
But
that
we
this
try
is
to
no longer a
avoid
touchdown.
these situations when we're on the
Illinois
field,
football,
in the
and that
booth.
Chase
If
Brown's
you rule forward progress,
was stopped before the ball popped out.
we're out of it.
I think that's the right call.
And that's what they came back and ruled, is forward progress.
And forward progress is not reviewable. So if you're thinking that the replay booth might buzz down,
I'm sorry, I got one more on this
is
one,
a
too.
judge-
Interesting. I've only seen this once. I think some of us have seen this play. So this involves a foul in relation to the goal line. So a foul in relation to a goal line with the spot of the foul is not reviewable.
Like
this is specifically the spot of a foul in relation to the goal
line. So they're
line.
trying to see if he scored before he basically
For UNS
did the flip to see if it's
is not
a penalty
reviewable.
or not. And yeah, that one might be coming back.
He might be on the 1 yard line.
So they
then
ruled
it
on
would be
the
a penalty
field.
from the 1 yard line. Wouldn't it be, Dave?
UNS at the 1.
Well, I guess I would go
Play
with at
cannot
least an
do
8.5
spot
out
of the
of 10
foul
on
when
the
it's in relation
somersault.
to the goal line.
I don't know if he'll make the Olympics, but that one looked pretty.
Instead of when the play go to review, it's a lesson learned by all. So for those of us that may have that in the future, we just got to know from a replay standpoint, it's not reviewable. So that's all I had tonight. Like I said, I tried to focus in on the actual plays. I think that brings a lot more value to the table when you see examples of types of non-reviewable plays. We're all going to have them. It's just the more we're aware of that, I feel we can really reduce the communication errors between the crew and the coaches on the sideline, and we look a lot more smoother. And from a replay stand, we got to know when we can and cannot stop the game. It's one thing we got to continue to work on. There's lots of examples. There's 35 plays I showed you guys tonight, and I'm sure there's several more out there. But I hope this helped you all. If there's any questions, I'll be welcome to answer them.
Anybody have any questions for Matt? Matt, I really appreciate you being willing to come here and kind of lay out some of the process related things. I appreciate that. For those of you who aren't working in Division I, don't think that you don't have to know the replay rules. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but the MIAA and maybe the Kansas Junior College Conference, it's got a bunch of extra C's in there. I don't remember everything.
KJCCC.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, Jayhawk for short.
The Jayhawk, that would be simpler. Could you talk a little about what they're doing this year?
Yeah, and if you hear a crying baby, I apologize. The way it's working for both of those leagues, the MIAA is slightly different from the JUCO, the Jayhawk. The key is we only have two sides. We have the sideline view and the end zone view. The pieces that are the same, we have to know the reviewable plays because our coaches are going to ask us. Well, in the MIAA, it's exclusively coach challenge reviews, except for targeting. That is the only officials review that we would initiate. So we've told all of our coaches that they need to and should be able to ask us as sideline officials to say, is that a reviewable play? Is it not? And so if it is one of those, line to gain isn't threatened and they want to challenge a spot, we need to be good enough to say, sorry, coach, we may be off by 2 yards, but you don't get to challenge that one. Well, they can take a timeout to ask us to challenge, but the challenge would not be granted, things like that. The biggest difference, I know it was stated, for your D1 guys, you can't do it, but our coaches will be able to challenge targeting. It is the only exception from that standpoint. So we do have that as well as we simply don't have the technology for timing. So anything that's timing related, we don't have the ability to match up the game clock. Most of the time, we don't even have a game clock in the video screen. So that is not something that we get to review at all. From that standpoint, it's really cool. The junior college stuff does have a little bit more freedom as far as referees initiating replay. They just had a game the other day that they wanted to make sure they didn't have a 5th down. And so they went and reviewed how many downs they'd had, and that was an officials initiated review. MIAA again is not going to have anything but targeting be reviewed for us, and so really cool thing for the game. The real big reason why I wanted to do it was because we didn't want guys waiting until halftime or getting the rest of the game and have to sit out when we could just go review it right away. Trying to keep it under 2 minutes, just like you all do, even with me having to run 75 yards to go to the iPad. So that's kind of the short version of it.
Thanks, Brad. I appreciate that. I think that's a good reminder for anybody who's not already working games with replay, that I would suspect if these are successful experiments in these leagues, that this is the kind of stuff that's probably going to make its way down. And if that's all you need is a sideline and an end zone and an iPad, that's probably going to happen sooner rather than later in a lot of places. So if you're not familiar with the replay rules, because you don't work games with replay, I would suspect it's coming in the next 3 to 5 years. It'll be everywhere. So Matt, big thank you. Brian, thank you also for that. Matt, big thank you for hosting tonight's meeting. A few odds and ends here. Where did that go? Looking at my screen? Anybody out there?
We can see your screen.
Yep, we're good.
Is my screen on? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can see you.
So on September 12th, Jim Bohr is going to lead a presentation on crew mechanics and communication. On the 26th, Dave Siegel's going to pull some stuff about some plays to review from the first month. A lot of that might come from the CFO tapes and stuff like that, just for conversation. But on October 10th, I'm going to start another Teachable Moments. So send me your plays. I have that spreadsheet that I shared in the email. Feel free to load them in as plays happen in your games. But otherwise, everybody, it's week 1. Good luck to everybody working this week. Thank you so much for being on the call tonight. Best of luck, and go get them. Thanks for being here. Have a good night.
See you soon, Nick.